3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Jane Cleland, and welcome back to the Writer's Room. Today we have the great privilege of talking to Annamaria Alfieri, and she writes historical novels. Deadly Pleasure magazine named City of Silver her first novel one of the best of the year. Right now, we left off talking about where ideas come from. So, Annamaria, where do you get your ideas?
This is a very strange question to me because I get my ideas from South American history to begin with. City of Silver came out in 2009, and it is about a city that whose economy affects the entire world economy, and it's about the fact that the top men in this country, in this city, are manipulating the economy in such a way that it threatens the economy of the entire world. I worked on that for so long before it actually came out. And
How
it came
long?
out, well, 8 years.
8 years to write your first book.
8 years to write it and get it published. Mm-hmm. But when it finally came out, it came out in the middle of an economic situation that was mirrored in reality, and reality was mirrored in my book.
Is that luck?
I don't know.
Timing?
I don't really know what's going on, because what's really weird is Invisible Country is about to come out, and that's an idea I had before I got the idea for City of Silver, and it's about to come out, and it's about a country that is involved in a war that it can't get out of, and the effect of the war on the families. And here we are in a situation in the world now where there are these wars going on that we would like to see stopped, but we can't manage it.
Well, where do the ideas come from?
Well, the ideas seem to be coming from the ether, from the cosmic consciousness. I don't. It kind of scares me.
It's mysterious.
Because now my next book is the one I'm working on, and it takes place in Buenos Aires in 1945. And what's going on is droves of people are marching in the street trying to get their government changed. That's another idea that I had years ago, and yet, in the world right now, droves of people are, I don't really know what's going on here, Jane. They just come to me, and when I hear an aspect of South American history where I say, oh, wow, then it kind of grabs me.
So if you've had lots of ideas, and you're not necessarily writing them in order, how do you decide which one to do first and which one second? How do you assess the value of ideas?
I think if because it takes a long time, I have to read and read and read the history. I have to research, and then I have to write and polish and polish and polish. It's got to be an idea that grabs me and fascinates me, and
something that you want to spend time with.
Yes, because if I'm going to spend 2 years with a book, I really need to love what it's about.
Yeah, is that the cycle that you're on now? Books every 2 years?
Well, it's the next one is going to have to go a little bit faster, and thereby hangs a tale. I'm trying, I'm writing against a deadline for the next one, so.
Well, that's good news, though.
It is good news.
You have a multi-book contract.
Yes.
So
yes,
congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled about that.
You make no secret of the fact that you're 70.
No. I'm going to be 71 in a couple of months.
Well, you see, you're 70. You're almost 71.
No, but I make no secret
yes,
of it.
That's
is what
right.
I meant. No, yeah. I don't make any secret of it.
And I got to say, first of all, that's astonishing. You just look gorgeous. You look 20 years younger, probably. On some level, I understand this is what 70 looks like. But that means that you came to writing fiction quite late in your life.
Sort of. I actually wrote fiction my entire life, and I wanted to be a novelist when I was 9 years old.
Oh.
I didn't get to become a published novelist until I was 68, and I love telling that story. And I love telling it, Jane, because what it's about is not about me. I mean, it is about me, but it's really about the whole idea of sticking to your dreams, persisting in them, not giving up. And I think that that's the most powerful force on earth is persistence.
Is persistence.
Yeah.
Now, you do have 5 nonfiction books out, including one that got you on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
It did.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that book is called Never Work for a Jerk. And actually, there's a current book that is a sequel to that is called Monster Boss. And I wrote those books under the name Patricia King, which is my actual legal name. And I spent my business career, even though I wanted to be a novelist when I was a child, I was a working class kid from Paterson, New Jersey. You didn't aspire to be an artist, even though in your secret heart you wanted to be a novelist. You got a good education and got a job.
Yeah.
And the job I had was that I was a management development expert. So I went around the world teaching people to be better managers. And I wrote books about that.
So what does nonfiction have to do with fiction? What lessons as a nonfiction author were you able to bring to writing the fiction that ended up getting published? I understand you'd been writing fiction all along, but something happened. You wrote a better book.
Yes. I think there are two things. One is just knowing that the way you write a book is to sit down and write the book and not dream about it, but you sit down and you put words on paper and you keep working at it until it's publishable.
The BIC principle, button chair.
Right, exactly. The other thing is what I did in my day job really informs the way I plot, because most murder mysteries have a detective or a detective and a sidekick or an amateur detective. My plots involve a group of people, and I spent a lot of time in corporations working with people on group process, on team building, what makes a team work, what makes a team fall apart. And it turns out that that's what I like to do in my plots as well. So that in City of Silver, there are 5 different people who are all working toward trying to figure out who murdered Inez de la Morada, and they each have a different part of it, and they each have a different role, and the more they communicate with one another, the more progress they make, and so they work as a team. And
That's
so
pretty astonishing.
And it happens in Invisible Country too.
So you're able to use your knowledge of human beings and human behavior in group communication. That's a direct correlation.
Yes, yeah.
And I bet that in your nonfiction books there was a lot of storytelling.
Well,
a lot
there
of
was.
Anecdotes.
You have to do that if you're going to keep a reader involved in a subject like performance appraisal.
Yeah. Now, going back to the 1960s, you were instrumental in creating guidelines and strategies for minorities and women to get included more in the New York financial community. Sisters in Crime formed more than 25 years ago to help women mystery authors achieve parity in the marketplace, as measured by review inches and pay advances from publishing houses and the like. What do you think? You've seen it. Do you have a sense on if it's working? Are women authors treated the same as men?
I doubt it. I really don't know those statistics, but I read the book reviews, and when you open up the book reviews, almost all of the writers that I know and almost all of the mystery writers that I read are women, almost all, not all, but I would say that the men are on the pages of the book reviews out of proportion to their representation in the population of murder mystery writers.
Yeah. Are your books in the arena of traditional mysteries? Is that what you would call them? What subgenre are you in? They're not hard-boiled.
No.
They're clearly historical.
They're,
but there's not a lot of on-scene violence.
No.
So
no, there's a little
kind
bit more violence in the next one. because there's a war going on, and but no, it's not about violence. They're really, what I try to do is to come up with a plot that will, as I said, allow me to reveal the history.
Yeah.
And they're very romantic, though. There are always love affairs.
Your face just lit up when you said that, I must say.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so
you wrote the kind of books that you want to read. Isn't that right?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
write the books. I like my books to be appealing, and of course I make them what appeals to me.
Yeah.
And so there are love stories. In fact, in Invisible Country, I think there are about 5 love stories going on all at the same time.
Where's the new one set? You said Buenos Aires, right?
Buenos Aires,
Mhm.
1945,
Right.
and that one is about the, there's Evita and Juan Perón. They're characters in the book. In Invisible Country, there's also a historical couple. Francisco Solano Lopez, who was the dictator of Paraguay, and his lady friend was Eliza Lynch. And if you think Evita Perón had an ambitious agenda, Eliza Lynch makes her look like a piker.
Isn't that funny? Now, if I were to ask you what advice you have for aspiring writers, I bet you're going to say persistence.
Yes,
Just doing it.
do not give up.
What if you're just getting rejected all the time? Why wouldn't you give up?
Well, I once went to the Mystery Writers banquet where they give out the Edgars, and there was a man who was getting the Edgar for the best first novel, and he thanked his publisher and his editor, and then he held his Edgar up and he said, "But I have to thank my wife, because every time I wanted to quit, she would say to me, 'A real writer wouldn't give up.'" And I just think that
Kinda
a
gives me
real writer
chills.
doesn't give up.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a motto for me. My other motto is Latin, and it's labor vincit omnia. Most people say love conquers all. I say work conquers all. Work. That's what I say.
Nice. Say it again in Latin.
Labor vincit omnia.
Yeah, nice. Any last thoughts?
Well, just to thank you very much for this very kind invitation. It's just been a pleasure to be with you today.
I agree.
Here,
It's been a
Jane.
pleasure to talk to you too. And I look forward to seeing you all again on the Writers' Room.